What is it like to be you?
I had a lot of opportunity to go up, you know, like there was a lot of times where I coded, and if it wasn't for my doctor who showed up, I wouldn't be here today. Like there's many times where I was not even guaranteed the next day.
What is your diagnosis?
I was never really given an actual diagnosis. When I was in the Miami Children's Hospital, I was going referred as a craniofacial patient. My genetics doctor, she told me that there's no chromosomal like problem or anything. She just said that most likely my mom did drugs while I was in the gestational period, and I ended up not finishing my whole, facial development. When I was first born, I was missing most of my nose. I was missing my nose. I didn't have most of my upper jaw was missing. I didn't have no hearing. My eye socket was missing. I didn't have no cheek fat. I didn't have a lot of things that I have now. I spent a lot of time, a lot of years until 1918. I was in the hospital, pretty much in that whole environment.
Did you have a lot of surgeries?
I had at least 3 a year from the day I was born all the way until 13, 14. I had 3 or 4 a year. So they really only told me that it was a hiccup in the whole developmental process in the gestational period, and it was most likely drug related. Well, I was in the hospital from the day I was born to 1 year old, 1.5. I learned how to walk and everything at the hospital. When I was in the hospital and my grandma was there by herself, while my mom and my dad were partying and having fun, and my grandma would call them crying, having them, the doctor would tell her, hey, he's really complicated. We don't guarantee overnight, and she would call my parents and they would never show up. The only time my mom wanted to show up was when TLC wanted to interview me for a show, and that's when she wanted to perceive, oh, she's there, but in reality she's never been there. It's only been my grandparents. I ended up with my mom after a year. I went to her house with my brother. My mom didn't really handle it, just being around me really well. So it was, she really showed my brother over me. She would if we would go out, she'll put me in the stroller and she'll cover me up and leave him out. If I got annoying, she'll put me in the closet. It was a struggle growing up, emotionally, just having my mom there, but at the same time, just your mom being basically your worst enemy, At the age of 2 years old, a little bit less than that, I was in the house with her and she let the crib down and I fell out of it and I ended up breaking my leg. And that's when I was taken from her and I ended up at a foster care facility for about a year. And then around the age 2.5, they were telling my grandma that if they were interested in adopting me, because they were gonna transfer me to North Carolina to try to see if I had any better luck over there. It was just a struggle, trying to survive another day, to figure it out, and it was thanks to my grandma that I was able to just do what I did. She took on the responsibility to raise me. My grandma devoted a lot of time from 2 years old all the way until 20 years old. She spent in the hospital. She never I would go to sleep and wake up and she was there. She never missed a beat. I lived behind the canal, so I seen all my cousins, siblings swimming, and I was just left out. They would go running around with their friends, and it was tough.
Why weren't you allowed to be included?
I couldn't swim because of my tracheostomy tubing. I had it until I was 12, 13, and all the way, and I had a feeding tube for a while. So I was never.
So with the trach, were you hooked up to an oxygen machine?
I was basically hooked up to a humidifier machine. I couldn't if I was 10 minutes without it, I started suffocating, changing colors and losing the oxygen, and so I was never really allowed to move around much.
What was it like for you to see all the other kids playing?
It was tough, like any little boy, they want to run around and interact and get hurt like their siblings do, But, it taught me a lot of lessons.
Tell me about your eyesight.
My eyesight, it was all right until at the age of 7 when I had when they cut me open from side to side and they put my skin forward, they damaged my optical nerves. And so I have a cornea scarring. So like I can see like people and stuff like that, but it's more like a blur. So, but it's enough to get around and see my kids, and there are people worse than me, there are people that I can't see, and it's worse. So I don't let it bring me down. I know that eventually technology will catch up, and something will happen.
Tell me about the first time you met Ariel.
Well, we were outside. I had seen a dog loose outside my house, and I just went outside. I love dogs. So I went outside to see it, and I ended up catching her, and he came outside realizing she was out a few minutes later.
One morning, I let my dog out, and she went out, she wandered off, and I lost her. And then 20 minutes later, I found her with her.
And then just talking almost every day. Ended up being a dog sitter for him, watching the dog when he was at work. Became a little more serious, and later on the next year got married. And then a few months after that, we ended up getting pregnant with our first son.
We met, and here we are 12 years later. With 5 kids, and I can't complain. Like the way she treats me has been it was all worth it. And I would relive my childhood all over again if I was guaranteed to be here again, like where I am today.
Who are these two?
So this is Vitalina and Madison.
What's your favorite thing about them when they're at this age?
They bond with you so much, and just seeing how they react and how they smile all the time, it just shows you that you're doing something right.
What is it like to be a dad?
It's great, amazing, like a feeling that you get, just the satisfaction that you get every day, seeing your kid call you dad, and how they love on you, and how they oversee my disabilities. It's like true satisfaction. It's hard to really explain it until you're actually in it. It's something that you can't really explain it to words. It's something that you have to feel it. But it's like a true blessing. Even after 5 kids, I'm still in shock with just seeing them grow up, and just the opportunity that I get every time I get a new baby. Just
Would you consider it an honor?
Complete honor, just being their father, and just, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
As an adult, how have you processed the trauma your parents put you through so that you can be a great dad for your kids?
Well, I always aspired to be what they were for me, I knew what it was to be without a parent. And I always promised my kids, all of them, that I would do whatever it takes to make sure that they're always together, no matter what. That they're always going to see their mom and their dad together. Because I know how it is to be in a tough moment. And I'm blessed not to have any of my kids go through what I went through. I always make sure that they have, memories that they never forget about us, It's just been a true blessing being there for them every day of their lives. From the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep, before they go to school, after they get out of school, we're there for them. It's just been, amazing to know that they have all their memories with us around all the time.
What's your favorite memory with your dad?
When he goes swimming with me. and he lets me ride on his back when we swim.
I always told him, even if my baby was born with half a head, he's gonna be born. There's a reason why we're all here. And no matter how we look, we all have a purpose. Whether you find out at a young age or at an old age, all that matters is you look for that purpose, and you know, once you find it, it makes life a lot more worth it.
How would you describe the type of dad that Ariel is?
Oh man, he is such a hands-on, really just a great dad. He's constantly with them, helping them grow, being in their life, showing them love, making sure that each of them is equally loved, especially with how many there are. It's a handful, and he shows that he can handle it all. It's great.
Everything, I became a father, like my whole perspective is truly changed. Like my oldest is 10 years old on the 15th, and he never asked me about anything. Like he sees me every day, and he's never had the curiosity to even question anything. Like, and he sees normal people every day, you know. And just to see him grow up and see my daughter grow up, and they see me like a normal person, it's enough. It's enough. I don't know how to explain it. Like confirmation from them. Like, you know, I feel enough. You know, like I feel satisfied that they see me normal, then to where I don't have to worry about. You know, I go out and like I don't care no more.
Is there anything unique about your dad?
He's a good dad.
What makes him a good dad?
He teaches us a lot.
When people tell you it's impossible, nothing here in life is impossible. When you actually try and you believe in yourself and you don't worry about what other people think about you, a lot of possibilities and opportunities in life open up.
What is it like to be Lucinda's dad?
It's amazing. Just the validation that I get from them every day. She every 5 minutes is randomly hugging me and just telling me how much she loves me, and just the validation that I get from all of them.
What's it like to hear her starting to talk?
It's amazing, like that feeling of just seeing them hit those milestones at a young age and being able to communicate and see them do things that I couldn't do is just inspiring to me. Wow, it's a light. Some people have it easy, some people are, you know, have it tough, or are born like I was, and they have to man up at a young age, because my grandma always taught me that if my mom and dad weren't here for me when I was a young kid and I really needed them, they're not gonna be there for me when I'm an adult. And it was the truth, you know. I ended up being an adult, and when it's been tough, and I haven't had anybody there, you know, and I figured it out all on my own. I moved out at age 18 from my grandma's house, and I never went back. I turned into an adult. I started working at McDonald's, flipping burgers, and working overnight at Winn-Dixie and Walgreens.
So he, knowing how he went through his life without his mother, without his father, seeing how distant most of his family was, he was able to know how he wanted to make things different, raising his own kids. And he has definitely made that a reality. He is 100% involved with them and raising them, and they love him so much. They constantly are seeking him out. Our daughter always wants to be with him, by his side. They're all just, they are growing so strongly and so happily because of him, and I can't say any more than that.
I would relive my life, my hard childhood, all and over again to just be where I am today, just at the age of 32, and with all my kids and my family. It's been a truly blessing.